think you'll be more inspired by an hour and 15, 20, 30 minutes from now. To introduce the first one, Dani Cook, I'm going to ask Roberta Thacker Oliver to come up here and help me with the introduction.
Yeah, I thought maybe that's a good idea. I can't either. Yeah, so I'm not going to do that. It seems like it would be fun for a minute. Hello. The first thing I want to do is not have anything to do with Dani, and I would like to say that y'all need to give yourself a round of applause because it's an excellent group on a rainy day in the middle of the outdoors, and we've done this is an amazing group. I've known the Washington County Dems for a very, very long time, and let me tell you, they are in their best era because this is amazing. So please give them a round of applause for all the work that they have done on this time. Well done, Carl and all, because it's great. And I feel like I'm going to poke myself in the eye with this. But anyway.
You want us to lower it?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I don't know. Gotcha. Anyway, my name is Roberta Thacker Oliver. I have many roles. I am here today as the Rural Caucus Chair and a friend of my friend Dani Cook that many of you know or have heard of or have seen or feel like you know. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her, and then she's going to come up here and she is going to do what she does best and inspire all of you to do all the great things that we need to be doing. I met Dani in 2018. She decided that she was going to pack a bag and a sleeping bag, and go sit out in front of Holston Valley Hospital because she thought the ballot health merger kind of sucked. And I watched her for about 3 weeks, and I thought, she ain't gone anywhere. We need to know each other. So I got in the car and I drove to Holston Valley and got under the tent and said, let's have a conversation. And we had a great conversation. I connected her with some people. She gave me some information that I was looking for. And we kept that conversation going, sometimes very often and sometimes not so much. And Dani stayed out there for 270 some days. I don't know that I've done anything for 270 some days in a row, ever, and most of you haven't either, but she persevered and she has made people very, very aware of what's going on. And it was super important. And while she was doing that, she brought all these people along, and then there were 3 people out there sleeping with her. And then there was, I don't mean that way, and then there was 20 people out there sleeping with her. That didn't sound good. And then she had like a whole block full of people out there sleeping with her. And then they were taking turns, and then there was like 2 rows of people sleeping out there with her, and I'm like, I need to talk to this girl again. And we had conversations, and I said, Dani, I need to know why you are not political. I need to know why you do this community activism in such a good way, that you bring people along in such a big way and you're not running for office. And I know you live in Tennessee, because she did at the time. I'm like, but it's not far to get to Virginia. And I promise you, I know a few people who are ready to help you out. She said, I don't want to be political, I want to be a community activist. And I was like, So we kept those conversations going, sometimes often and sometimes not. And we had some opportunities, and then one day she texted me and she said, guess where I am? I was like, where are you? She said, I'm in Atlanta. I said, what are you doing in Atlanta? She said, I'm working for Stacey Abrams. I was like, it's about damn time. I've never been so excited to see that she did the political thing. And then Stacey Abrams' campaign was over, and it wasn't in the way that we wanted it to be. And a lot of things happened, and Dani lives in the region, and I said, keep inviting her to things. And now she just comes to things, because I don't know if 1, she thinks it's a good idea, or 2, she thinks it's the only way I'll shut up. But I've watched Dani all this time since 2018 be this woman who sat in front of the hospital and kept talking until today, where she is the woman with 55,000 followers on TikTok, who does this work 24/7, who is raising, she's a tutu. If you don't know what that is, that's code for grandma. She's helping raise 3 babies who are very TikTok famous too, actually. And one of the things that you really are gonna be inspired by is Dani doesn't take any shit. Dani doesn't keep her mouth closed when it needs to be said. And Dani knows how to bring people along. So we went from Senator Kaine talking about tyrants and all the things that we have to do and why these elections are so important, because we're not going to let tyranny win. And now Dani is gonna come up here and let y'all know how y'all just gotta get your crap together and go do it, because that's what she does. So give a hand for my friend. Don't fall.
I'm not gonna fall.
That's what I said.
Listen, I'm country as hell.
Y'all think you have the shoes on, okay?
Well, the shoes are not my fault. I love you. Thank you. So just so you all know, I saw some of y'all pointing at my shoes. Don't think I didn't see you. I saw some of y'all pointing at my shoes like, she's wearing heels. That shit is not my fault first. Carl said that it was business casual, and I did not know I was outdoors, nor did I know y'all were gonna be like raining and whatever. So just so y'all know, but I can kick these suckers off and probably will by the time this is over, because I like to be barefoot anyway. So I appreciate that, Roberta. Yeah, we did meet. Gosh, it seems like, on one hand, it seems like not that long ago, and then it seems like, good God, it's been like a whole lifetime since I packed a sleeping bag and a backpack and went outside of Holston Valley Medical Center. For those of y'all who do not know me, I am from the region. I'm from Bristol. Born and raised there. Went to elementary school at Holston Valley, Jesus Christ. Holston View is my elementary school. Went to Vance, all the things. I was a Viking, not a Bearcat, still love Bearcats. That's the Virginia side, so, you know, I give y'all love. And yeah, my mama is still in the region, and I still care about what happens here. And I care about what happens here, not just because my mom is still here, but because even if I don't agree with a lot of some of the things that happen in the area, or the majority of some of the Republican politics, or even if I'm still maybe traumatized from the things I experienced as a kid, being biracial, being raised here in the 70s, in a 96% white community, people still matter. I still want good things for everybody. And I think most of us feel that way, right? But somehow we've lost all of that in this political mumbo jumbo, and the maggots and the demon rats and the this and the that. And we have lost that thing that at the very end of the day, every single person, Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, wants your neighbors to have access to free, safe, affordable health care. Even if it's not free, please, God, dear God, affordable, right? Everybody wants that. Everybody wants their kids to have great education, like accurate education, even if it's uncomfortable, because that's what we need to do to grow, right? We all want affordable housing. I don't think anybody wants people sleeping in the street. I mean, sometimes I would like for some people to sleep in the street just for a little while so they know how it feels, and then they can get their stuff together. But that is how I got to here. What I found out was that all of the advocacy, all of the good that I wanted to do for people, I ended up back at politics, even though I had no desire to have anything to do with this political crap. But here's what I know, politics is policy and how it affects people. So if I want to impact people, I have to somehow talk about politics. So because of that, the very first thing that I have to do, because I believe that you have to be responsible with your platforms, to whom much is given, much is required. How many of you all know that? Yeah, everybody familiar with that little phrase right there? How many of you all know what this is? How many of you all know what this is? So this is a keffiyeh. I wear this in solidarity with my friends that are in Palestine, my friends that are in Gaza, and I do mean friends. I talk to them every day on TikTok. We've helped families in the last 10 days, 11 days get from the north to the south. I've literally been on TikTok with their cameras on, and I can hear the bombs in the background while their children cry, right? I had a conversation with Senator Kaine about that. And I'm going to keep having conversations about that, and I don't care if it makes people uncomfortable. I believe that we as a country are responsible for what we do at home and around the world. And that is the reality. I know that this is uncomfortable, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with anybody at any time about the details. Because I had to dig in too, right? I had to dig in. There were so many things about history that I didn't know. But in order for me to get completely up to speed and really understand what's happening today, I needed to know what happened in 1917, and then in 1919, and 1922, and then 1948, and all of that. So I'm not going to talk about Palestine a whole lot other than to say, I want you to see me. I want you to see this kafia. I want you to think about 20,000 children in Gaza that have been unalived in the last, that's my TikTok language coming out. They have been murdered in the last 22 months. I'm going to say that number again. 22,000 children. I interviewed a physician. Her name is Dr. Mimi Syed. You may have seen her on national TV. I interviewed her twice. She went to Gaza twice. She kept her own log of all of her patients. Can anybody guess, if you saw the interview, you don't get to cheat, right? But can anybody guess what percentage of her patients were children? Just throw out a number.
50%.
You said 50, 75?
90.
86.
Wow.
86% of her patients were children. I'm a veteran. That is not collateral damage. That is not just happenstance. That's not it. It's 100% disgraceful. And what it is murder, 100%. And what we have to understand, folks, is while we are in the fight for our democracy here, we are complicit in what is happening in Palestine. And this is one of the places where I think the Democratic Party has to get it together. Because, like Carl was saying, he said, well, what happens when you're looking for candidates and people would rather run as an independent? Like it or not, folks, some of the lack of conversations about Palestine hurt us in the last election. They did. Even though they got someone that was worse. They were so frustrated at people that wouldn't stand up for them, they said, I'd rather sit this out. 80 million people didn't vote. Right? We have to start having conversations. So I do this thing where I'm talking to people because it can get overwhelming, can it not? Like, how do we save Medicaid? How do we save SNAP? How do we stop, like, a war in Ukraine, a war in Gaza, and the other 5 fake wars that somebody thinks is happening? Just saying. How do we do all of those things, right? It can be very overwhelming. So this is what I teach people to do. How many of you guys have ever seen me do circles on TikTok? Yeah? Okay, so circles. This is the jam. You ready? So this is your tiny inner circle. Think about your circle like your heart. So this is circle number 1. Circle number 1 is what you can control. And most oftentimes that's only you. The most important thing to control is what you think, then what you speak, and then what you do. In that order. Because how many of you all spend time talking? I listen to Senator Kaine. This is not a knock at all. Hear my heart when I say this. I am so tired of hearing about Donald Trump. I'm so tired. Can we have conversations about our neighbors and our kids? Can we have our conversations about like housing and how we're gonna live? And most of us, we're from small towns. We know our neighbors. We know who's living paycheck to paycheck. We know who's going to the food bank. We know who we're taking food to because they don't always have it. Why are we not talking about those things? Was there anything that you learned about Donald Trump tonight that was new? No. Nothing. Not the indictments, they weren't new because that's all everybody talks about. Dear God in heaven, can we talk about good things? And can we meet people where they are? So I believe, how many of you guys have heard, don't talk religion, don't talk politics? Yes. Please talk both. Yes. And talk them both at the same time. And the reason why we must is because the Republican Party they're doing it. Yeah. So just by a show of hands, if you feel comfortable, how many of you all identify as Christian? Can you raise your hand for me? Yeah? Are you tired of seeing your religion be misused? and misrepresented. So you have to start holding your neighbor accountable. I told him the other day, I said, ain't no God I know that co-signs a genocide. And by the way, Jesus was a Palestinian. Woo! Just saying, for the people who don't know, Jesus was a Palestinian. And we have Palestinian Jews and Palestinian Christians. But the reality is nobody cares as long as if they're Palestinians, they just want them to not be there anymore. And it's not okay. Right? What's happening today is not okay. I listened, and it sounds like I'm being so bad right now, and I swear to God I'm not. It's when I hear things, they stick out to me, especially when I go, oh my God. So this idea that we're dealing with a tyrant, and then we're gonna negotiate? Help me. See, somebody chuckled. You felt that with me, didn't you? Yeah, because I'm just saying, if we're being honest, how are you going to tell me I'm dealing with a tyrant and then tell me that we're going to negotiate? Because do tyrants negotiate? And do you know that this is why people are mad at the Democratic Party? Because you're still trying to negotiate with tyrants while telling people that they're tyrants. And they want you to just stand up and say, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You don't get our children. You don't get our schools. You don't get our public education. You don't get to steal our religion. You don't get to close down our hospitals. You don't get to make a fortune off the backs of poor people. You don't get to do that. And that's the place where you have to be. How many of you all are at that place, literally, where you're like, absolutely no more? Because I don't know that a lot of people are. Okay, can I be real for a second? You are? I know you are, because you were already with me from the beginning. Okay. Absolutely. Had enough, not going to take it anymore. So I think the reason why some of us get here faster than others is because this ain't the first time we've had our rights trampled upon. For some people in this country, this is the first time. And you're like, oh, la, 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 surely it won't be this bad. Let me tell you something, it will be this bad. If you do not know how bad it can be, please go talk to a Native American. Please do that. Go talk to an African American. Go talk to a Hispanic American. Go talk to a Japanese American. All of that is right here at home, folks. I didn't even talk about things that we do overseas. All of that is right here at home. If we do not understand what happens when bad people are in our offices, I don't know what to tell you at this point. So how do you go about having these conversations? Dear God, you look familiar. I'm looking at you like I know you. Sorry. That's the ADHD all day, right there. You see how it just happened? Sorry. But so how do we have these conversations? How many, give me ideas. I like participation, in case you don't know. How do you think we got here? What do you think are the main ways that we got to where we are in this country? How did the Trump campaign accomplish what they did?
Fear.
Complacency.
Tribalism,
Complacency.
complacency, apathy. I heard fear.
Yeah.
Too many preachers in the pulpit. I'm just saying, and politicians, the whole nine, you better believe it. I heard something over here.
Money.
Lying, money, 100%. Now, can I give you a little bit of like goodness in that though? Do you all understand that after campaigning for 10 years straight with the richest man in the world trying to buy the election, they still only won by 1.5%? Don't tell me that this country is not ready for a woman, because I believe they are. Don't tell me they're not ready for a woman of color, because I know that they are. She campaigned for 107 days. Dude, if I only campaigned for 107 days, you campaigned for 10 years, and you only beat me by 1%, you suck! Like, you suck! Right? And this is the thing. I'm not thinking about who's the candidate in 2028. I don't care. What I want to see from the Democratic Party and what the people that I talk to every day want to see is they want to see you be impassioned. They want to see you be bold. They want to see you be proud. They want to see you be fierce. Fight like you're fighting for your grandchildren. That's what I do. Because I love my grandbabies. Right? I have 3 beautiful, I call them intercontinental, because I'm biracial, right? And their dad is Hispanic. And so I call them intercontinental because we're a little bit of everything. And so when I think about the world that I'm living in, how many of you guys get tired of all of this? How many of you all have thought, I don't really want to go to Donkey Day today? Did anybody think that before you came? You don't have to raise your hand if you don't want to. Carl said, me? Yes, right? But I mean, there are days when you're just like, I don't want to do this fight. I'm tired. What's changing? And this is a real thing. Do you know what I think about when I get like that? I picture John Lewis on the Edmund Pettus Bridge every time. And I think about what he was looking at. Because it wasn't like roses and like or anything, right? It was police with batons and dogs. There's not a single one of us that is facing that right now in here. There are people in this country facing that, though, right? There are. They're just a little melanated, might have a different first language, right?
Won't be long.
But it could not be long. So let me give you this. So that right there. So remember when we talked about circle number 1, circle of control? You said it won't be long as if it's a guaranteed thing. I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be fast. I don't want it to be ever. So what I'm going to say is, it could be soon, but it won't be. You see what I'm saying? So we do this all the time. Oh, it's going to get better before, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Do you really want it to? I don't. So could we just not speak that thing, please? Right? Yeah, but here's my thing. We change the trajectory.
Yes.
We change the trajectory. You are the algorithm. You are the term limits. Stop being lazy. Everybody's like, oh, they need term limits. They have them, you. If we don't want them in office, vote them out. That's it. Say what? Just saying. Circle number 2. It's your circle of influence. Everybody's is different, but it almost always includes friends, family, peers, coworkers, right? For some of us, it's followers, subscribers, people on the internet. What are you doing in your circle of influence? I knew that today I was going to come up here and I was going to bring my keffiyeh. And I know that there are going to be some people that don't like it. And I don't care. Because it's the right thing to do. I would do it for you. I have done it for this region. Do you understand? I don't have to agree with everything about everybody to do what's right for you. That's what comes down to just basic humanity. We talk all the time about Southern values. Oof. What are they, really? That's why I say I'm country, not Southern. Gets a little wonky, gets a little dangerous down in those weeds between Southern and country, right? Here's what I want you to do as an exercise. When you go home tonight, make a list of the top 10 things you've been talking about. And then I want you to write beside them, circle 1, 2, or 3. The 3 is anything that you can't control or that you can't influence. And I want you to see how much of your emotional currency, your time, your effort, your energy, you are giving to things that you can't do anything about. If we spend 80% of our emotional currency and our time and our energy on what we can control, which is us, and the people that we can influence, we might actually get some shit done. Right? But it's a lot easier to just sit around and talk about point 3. You know that James Coney indictment? How many of you guys are going to be sitting? Are you going to be in the jury pool? Are you lawyers? I mean, even if you are a lawyer, are you like going to be his defense attorney? Because probably not, right? So all you want to do is know about it. Know about a thing so that you can respond to people, give them accurate information, and then let's talk about the things that matter. And then how do we talk about them? This is the part where I get really excited. If you don't know that I'm excited, that was the knee. That was the leg right there. That was the sign of excitement. Okay? So here's what I believe about conversations. I believe that every conversation you have to have 4 things. And if you bring these 4 things to every conversation, you will gain understanding even if you do not gain agreement. Okay, you ready? Carl knows them. The first C, the C is compassion. We have lost compassion for each other. I think a lot of us have lost compassion for ourselves. We spend so much time beating ourselves up for what we're not doing, who we could be, what we didn't get done, the weight we didn't lose, the job we didn't get, the whatever it is. Show up with compassion first in every conversation. Right? Because if I show up with compassion, I'm listening for connection. The second one is authenticity. If you are not authentic, this is something I know about inner city people, having lived in Atlanta, and rural people being born and raised here in the region, right? Here's what I know. Both can smell bullshit a mile away, right? And so if people aren't authentic, you don't trust them, you don't believe them, you don't want to, it's like, nah, no, thank you, right? And people can tell when you're authentic because they can feel you. How many of you all do this work and you still feel it? Or how many of you guys are just you're just doing phone bank calls and you're just knocking on doors? Do you feel the neighbors that you're trying to reach? Are you able to look past their frustration, past their pain? You think it's anger, but it's probably because they're having to choose between like groceries and, medicine and clothes for their kids and school supplies. They're not really mad at you. They're mad at life and what we've created. Just think, you guys, we could have created anything, and this is what we did. That's why when people are like, we just need to go back to the old days, but these kids just need a whipping, because I got whippings and I turned out okay. And I'm like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. None of us are okay. Because if we had turned out okay, our world would be so different. We are not okay. And I don't want this for my grandbabies. I met Charles earlier. He's 10. I don't want it for Charles. I see this little cutie over here with his little cheeks going. I'm a sucker for the babies. All day, you waving at me, I love it. You want me to see you too? I see you, girl. What you eating? Cute. I see you, bows, over here. Sissies, I see you. This is the thing. Do you see how as soon as I started talking about the kids and you all saw them, all of your faces changed. All of your demeanors changed. Immediately you tapped into some place of emotion. And most of the time we are not doing that when we're phone banking and when we're knocking on doors. And that's the thing that makes people vote. Voting is emotional. Voting is personal. And that's the place where we have to get, right? Compassion, authenticity, respect. Even if I don't like you, I'm going to give you basic respect until you disrespect me one time too many, and then I might give you your energy back. I might meet you where you are. That happens sometimes, right? Sometimes. But just basic respect. And then this one's the really hard one. You ready? Vulnerability. Some of you probably just threw up in your mouth a little bit, didn't you? You know what's crazy is when we see other people be vulnerable, when we see other people tell their traumas and their tragedies, we go, oh my God, they're so inspiring, that's so incredible, that's so amazing. And then when we go, okay, well, what about you? And you're like, I'm good. Right? Nobody wants to do it themselves. But this is how we connect with each other. Y'all, I grew up in this, I hated growing up here. I hated it. I was 5 the first time I was called the N-word. My brother, when they had their mock election at Holston View, he was elected literally the N-word of the year. Like with the teacher, like a real thing. Hated it here. It was not a joy in the 70s to be biracial in this region. And my black friends, real talk, will say, girl, why are you still talking to people? When I was outside of Holston Valley, they were like, they don't give a shit about you. And my response was, that's okay. I'm here for them, but I'm not here for them. I'm here because it's the right thing to do. And that's the way we have to start approaching each other. It's okay if you don't like me. It's okay. I still want you to have great health care. I still want you to have insurance. I still want you guys to have good housing and education. I still want you to have a good job. I still want you to have a livable wage, preferably a thrivable wage. I don't just want you to live, I want you to thrive. We're missing connection with each other. So when you go out and you start to have these conversations with people, ask yourself, are you carving out space? Compassion, authenticity, respect, and vulnerability, that's carve. Are you carving out a space where you all can meet in the middle and build understanding? Because if you do that, you can shift people's perspective. They don't have to agree with everything that you say, but you can shift them. And that's what we gotta do. We gotta do a whole hell of a lot of it between now and November 4th, and between next year, and so forth and so on. This is the longer road. I could scare you to death and talk about Donald Trump and blah, 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 but that doesn't work. We'll swing like a pendulum back and forth. I wanna get to the root of the problem. And we are the root of the problem. We are the root of the problem. Not him. That joker is who he is. He ain't changing. Like, so what do we do? So what I'm here to say to you is stop talking about him and everybody else. I grew up here neck deep. How many of y'all know Reverend W.A. Johnson before he passed? So that was my pastor my whole life. Matter of fact, if you go to Lee Street Baptist Church and you look at the altars that are there, on the inside of the altars, there's a little plaque there, and it's dedicated in his memory, but it has me and my brother's names right there in the church. And he brought a woman by the name of Carrie Sally to come see with us. It was like during revival. Y'all know how we do church, right? And we were having a revival, and they asked Carrie, how does she talk to people for such a long time? Like, and just her gifts just pour and pour and pour. You know what she said? She said, I look at people and I see them with all the love of Jesus. Now, I'm not asking you to see people with all the love of Jesus. I'm asking you to see people with love. Whatever kind of love you got, compassion love is the highest form of love. Do that and we will get somewhere and we will change some things, right? And you're gonna have to be tough at the same time. You could do that. Okay? All right. Before I go, do I have any questions that anybody would like to ask me while I'm here? Anything? I'm open. If not, you can hit me up later. Cool? Yes?
I would like you to ask everybody in this room on Monday morning to call Senator Warner's office in D.C. and ask him to meet with the Appalachian Peace Education Center about Palestine.
Gotcha. Yeah, we could do that. Matter of fact, I'm hoping to meet with him as well the week after next when I go up there. So the request was the Appalachian Peace Education Center would like to meet with Mark Warner, Senator Mark Warner. So you can make that phone call, shoot off that email, ask him to meet with them, right? Do you know what else you can do that's really powerful? Write a letter to the editor asking him to meet with them. All right, take that little email that you send to Mark Warner, post it on your social media, and tag him in it too. Yeah, they don't like spotlights. Put the spotlight on them and make them do what you want them to do. And if they don't, vote their asses out. That's all I got. Hope y'all mean it. Oh, wait. Yes.
I would like you to remind everyone that when they get home tonight, actually take a piece of paper and pencil and write down.
Yes, he would like for me to remind you your homework assignment that I gave you. So seriously speaking, go home, write down the top 10 things that you talk about the most. right? And then put a 1, 2, or 3 beside them. How many of them are the things that you can control, the things you can influence, or none of the above? And then make an adjustment so that you're focusing 75, 80% of your time on the things that you can control or the things that you can influence. I appreciate you all very much. It's been a pleasure.